All 53,000 seats sold out for this battle of Wildcats and Bulldogs. Now let's go downstairs and introduce you to the third member of our team down on the field, Chris Barlow. Chris?
All right, thank you, Charlie. How Mummy said it this week. The first thing you have to consider when you face Mississippi State is dealing with their vaunted defensive coordinator, Joe Lee Dunn. Dunn is a master, and last year he brought the house against Tim Couch and the Wildcats. He blitzed from every angle. The Bulldogs sacked him 5 times. They chased him, they hurried him, they knocked him down. And after the game, Tim Couch said it was the most he had been hit all year. Now, 2 factors have kept Couch more upright this year: his ability to scramble and get away from the rush, and the great play of his senior-dominated offensive line, but that line will not be intact tonight. Senior left tackle Jonas leaning out with a broken leg, suffered against Georgia. His replacement is going to be Matt Brown, a redshirt freshman who has never started a collegiate game. His responsibility, protect Tim Couch's vulnerable blind side, and you can bet that Joe Lee Dunn has factored that into his defensive scheme tonight. Chaz?
All right there, Chris. As you take a look at Tim Couch, Kentucky won the toss, and defying recent college football tradition, they did not defer. They're going to receive. That's entirely in keeping with the aggressive nature of head coach Hal Mummy. And we are ready to go, and that kick is going to go way out of the end zone. It will be a touchback, and Kentucky begins 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. When you think of the Kentucky offense, of course, you think of Tim Couch, but Anthony White is the leading receiver coming out of the backfield. But the big play, man, is Craig Yeast. Yeast at wide receiver, 12 touchdowns already this season. He had 10 last year. And the offensive line anchored by the center, Jason Watts, who is an alligator wrestler. We'll tell you his story throughout the night. And we are underway. Jackie Sherrill, the head coach of Mississippi State, telling us during the week he'd be surprised if they didn't come out running. And that's exactly what Kentucky is doing. That's Derek Homer, who goes for about 5 yards. Now let's meet the Mississippi State defense. Edward Smith is the leading tackler. Essentially, they play a 5-2-4. Barron Simpson is a busy linebacker. He is the second leading tackler on the team with 60. And the secondary, Anthony Derricks, he's going to be a busy man, keeping an eye on Craig Yeast. On 2nd down and 4 at the 26-yard line, here's Tim Couch from the shotgun. This time a fake, and there is the aforementioned Mr. Yeast. He's got the 1st down at the 32-yard line. Jackie Sherrill, in his 21st year as a head coach, his 8th season at Mississippi State. The Bulldogs had an off week last week, and they have historically been successful, and they've had a couple of weeks to prepare.
We're asking an awful lot this week to come in here, and their pass defense, which is high in the nation in rankings in terms of yards and interceptions, will be sorely tested this evening.
Ranked 9th in the country, the Mississippi State pass defense, giving up only 16.6 points per game. But, of course, they are facing Tim Couch. 1st and 10, little pitch to Anthony White. And White across the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard or two, not a whole lot more. That's Barron Simpson, 45, in on the tackle.
You mentioned 60 tackles, Charlie. He missed 2 games. He is ordinarily their leading tackler, 100-tackle guy last year. Great pursuit from the inside backer position, somebody that Hal Mummy is going to have to block if their running game is going to be consistently successful this evening.
That's Hal Mummy. 5 years a head coach at Valdosta State, 3 years at Iowa Wesleyan. He has found a home in Kentucky. On 2nd and 9. Well, look at this. Couch wrestled down back at the 20-yard line by Kewan Smith.
Kewan Smith, and a very small nose tackle at 5'11", 255 pounds, but extraordinarily quick. He is not going to get fooled. You see him come from the inside. He is not fooled at all by the misdirection. Gets right in the face of Couch, forcing a 3rd and very long.
Mississippi State got to Couch 5 times in their win last year. And Joe Lee Dunn, who is the master of, if you'll pardon the Don King expression, trickeration. Pass over the middle, and that is complete to Gary Davis, but well short of the 1st down. He is taken down at about the 38-yard line by Cornell Menifee.
Well, Menifee makes the hit, and it's a big hit because otherwise Davis gets the 1st down. And again, here's a situation to where many people didn't think that this is the way the thing should have started. They thought Kentucky was going to drive down the field, so give Mississippi State credit. A little bit of resilience after 2 weeks of getting whacked by LSU.
Jimmy Carter, left-footed punter, and that is Kevin Prentiss, who is barely 5'9" and no more than 160 pounds, but he can fly and he is elusive and he is dangerous. And a fake. Let's see what they're going to do with it. They're going to get the first down. Yes, they are.
Matt Mummy, the coach's son, is the one who was supposed to throw, but he runs for the first down. Not a big surprise at all, Charlie. That actually evens out now. They've punted 38 times. They've gone for it now on 4th down 38 times. Not only do they get the first down, they're going to get 15 yards added.
After the play.
Take a look at the short. You're going to see the short snap right here. He rolls to the right. Jimmy Carter does the fake. They do a good job in coverage, but Mummy just fast enough to get out of bounds. And unfortunately for Mississippi State, Kenzaki Jones, the free safety, hits him a little bit late, costing him an extra 15.
Hal Mummy is as aggressive a head coach as there is in college football, and his son Matt, at the age of 23, very happy to be the backup and playing under dad and behind Tim Couch, comes up with the big first down now at the 38-yard line of Mississippi State. That's Anthony White, and White gets about 3 yards. Actually, Kentucky has been running the ball a lot more than you might expect.
Jackie Sherrill, who prides himself on the kicking game, can't be very happy with that. Coming into this game, everybody knew how many times they went for it on 4th down. You can see the dour look on his face. The defense did what it had to do, and the special teams really failed them there. Midfield is the time where you really have to be cognizant of the fake, and Mississippi State let down.
2nd down and 8 yards to go. They have to get to about the 28 of Mississippi State for the first down. Couch from the shotgun, and he has to get rid of it in a hurry, and he does, and that's Anthony White. And White gets down to the 30, about 2 yards shy of the first down. Tim Nelson made the tackle.
Edward Smith, their leader in sacks, is the one right in the face of Couch. He's able to get the ball off, and White makes a terrific catch, his 60th of the year. Hal Mummy, you can see right there, that conversion attempt, that evens it out now at 39 and 39, as I had pointed out. 22 rather. It's amazing the courage that this man has. But as he points out, he says, it's a win-win situation sometimes. If you go for it, you get it, you're great. If you go for it and you don't get it, people will say, wow, what courage.
On 3rd down, Tim Couch is 3 of 3 so far tonight for 26 yards, and whistles blow and flags fly.
Well, that appeared to be Matt Brown, the youngster, the new tackle that Chris Marlowe pointed out at the top. Little inexperience there, costing his team 5.
Good ball. False start on the offensive line. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Brown, a redshirt freshman from Texas.
Take a look right here, number 75. See, he shuffles a little bit. He knows that he has to get back quickly to pass block on Smith, and there's the little bit of a flex. Smith jumps off, taps him on the helmet, and gets away with it. Not really that big of a flex, but enough to draw the flag.
3rd down and about a long 7. Remember, they have to get to the 28, and the ball is currently at the 36. Couch throwing sideline. Craig Yeast can't get it. A little too tall for the 5'9" senior from Harrodsburg, Kentucky.
Had what they wanted. They had Robert Bean in man coverage on the short corner route. Turns him a little bit inside. He's open, but the ball just a little bit tall. We went to great lengths to talk about the accuracy factor of Tim Couch, but there, the 5'9" Yeast just couldn't quite get up. And I'm thinking here, Charlie, simply because a 53-yard field goal is out of Hanson's range, they got to go for it.
And exactly that's what they're going to do. And everybody's standing here at Commonwealth Stadium on 4th down and 7 yards to go. And that's Yeast in motion coming to the near side, and Couch looking at him. And now it's going to be a little screen out to Homer. And Homer, with second effort, is shy of the first down. Knocked out about the 31-yard line, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Mississippi State.
Charlie, as highly as we praised Tim Couch, there was a mistake. He knew he had to get the ball downfield 8 yards. He wasn't able to do it. He dumps it off and troughs Homer, but this time he couldn't get it. Now it's Mississippi State ball.
So now it's Mississippi State's turn with the football for the first time tonight. It's 1st and 10 from their own 32-yard line. James Johnson is the deep back, and he's expected to get 25 to 30 tries at the ball tonight, and he picks up about 3 on the play. The quarterback is Wayne Madkin. He's an 18-year-old freshman, one of 5 freshman quarterbacks in the SEC this year. Kevin Prentiss is the big play man. A 94-yard kickoff return last year against Kentucky, and he's got 3 touchdowns this season. Eric Allen is making his 21st consecutive start anchoring the offensive line at center. 2nd down and 5 at the 36-yard line. And here again is Johnson. Johnson across the 37 to about the 38-yard line. Now let's meet the Kentucky defense. Dennis Johnson is a load. He was last year's Parade Magazine High School Defensive Player of the Year. We'll be talking about him a lot tonight. Jeff Snedeker is the leading tackler on this football team. Last year he played with a torn left rotator cuff, and it's still not 100%, but he is a gamer. And David Johnson, who's been struggling with a sprained toe the past few weeks, had the week off last week. He's healthy and playing and starting tonight. On 3rd down and a long 3. And here's Madkin, wasn't expecting even the toss, and it looks like Kentucky may have covered the fumble, and they have. It may have been Grayson Smith. Madkin, the freshman quarterback we told you about, wasn't even looking for the snap.
Well, once again, you know, here's the inexperience factor. They go to the shotgun right away. There really isn't much of an excuse. Smith able to come up with the ball. He just misses it. That's not bad. He just wasn't expecting it. Now, at this point, just fall on it. Don't try and get up and make a play. Just fall on it. Instead, Kentucky going the other direction is able to see it. All the blue shirts. Now it's Wildcat football.
Mississippi State can ill afford to make mistakes against a high-powered offense like Kentucky. And so it is 1st and 10 at the Bulldog 29-yard line. And that's Lance Mickelson in motion. And Couch throwing for Yeast. And he's got it. Inside the 15-yard line. Craig Yeast, who just 2 years ago gave serious thought to transferring out of Kentucky.
And if you're Kendall Robertson, you got to say, you know what, my coverage really was not that bad. I'm with him. I know he's going to run the corner. I've given him a little bit of a gap. No, look, I break on the ball. I'm there, but the pass is perfectly thrown. Look at that. He lays out, has his hand in the way. Yeast able to get both feet down. This is the accuracy factor that we were talking about. Robertson even pulls his head back a little bit. Didn't prevent Yeast from getting yet another big play.
Could have been an interference call. It is 1st and 10, the line of scrimmage, the Mississippi State 12-yard line. And Couch, pump fakes, again, fires, ball tipped in the air, and it's caught!
The alligator wrestler, it's Watts.
The ball was tipped in the air.
What a dream. Look at the big smile on his face. He's got to be happy. Couch, what a job he does of buying time. Comes back here, the ball ricochets. Now it's a live ball, anybody can get it. And there he is, Watts, the center, comes up with it. A young man who not only wrestles alligators, but won a tough man contest. But nobody knew that he had those kind of mitts.
Jason Watts grew up in the Okeechobee swamps of Florida. He wrestles alligators because he likes to. He says there are 3 prerequisites to wrestle alligators: quickness, boredom, and stupidity. It is 2nd and 3 at the 5-yard line. Couch looking toward the end zone. Backing up, dumps it off. And it's complete to A.J. Simon, and he's going to lose about 5 yards on the play.
There's a situation where if you're an experienced offensive back or receiver, you're back there, just drop the ball. A.J. Simon would have been better off just to drop the ball. He's about the 5th choice in that situation. Surely he doesn't get a chance to play much. He wants to make a play. That was not a screen pass, ladies and gentlemen. It just broke down. Simon should have just dropped it and given him a chance to come back. Now they've got 3rd and long.
For A.J. Simon, that was his first reception of the year, and it went for -5. Couch now 7 of 8 for 49 yards. 3rd down and 8 at the 10-yard line, so Kentucky can still get a 1st down. Looking out of the backfield, and here's Derek Homer. And Homer is tackled at the 7, well short of the 1st down.
Give the Mississippi State defense a lot of credit here, Charlie. Twice now they've gone for it on 4th down. They were able to prevent that on the first drive. Their offense gets a turnover, but there's a flag on the play.
And by the look of Joe Lee Dunn's face, it's probably against Mississippi State.
Dead ball foul after the play was over. Personal foul on the offense.
Well, no.
It'll be 4th down after a 15-yard penalty from the end of the run.
Well, this is really costly, Charlie, because now you're getting on the cusp of Seth Hanson's field goal range. We're looking now at about a 40-yarder as opposed to what would have been a 25-yarder, so this is certainly not a sure thing.
Hansen's longest of the season is 42. So it is 4th down and 21 yards to go. The line of scrimmage is the 23.
Against, Charlie, I wanted to interrupt and say against Georgia, that's what cost them there. Same situation down on the 10-yard line. They went back to midfield because of penalties.
A 40-yard field goal try on its way, and it is a bullseye. So Seth Hansen's 40-yard field goal has given Kentucky the early 3-0 lead. And so the 40-yard field goal by Seth Hansen has given Kentucky the early 3-0 lead, but some questionable calls down deep in Mississippi State territory, and then a costly penalty took Kentucky out of touchdown range. And there is Kevin Prentiss. And Prentiss, with a 94-yard kickoff return against Kentucky last year, had a 91-yard kickoff return earlier this year against South Carolina. And they're going to keep it away from him, and the ball is kicked out of bounds, and so it'll be 1st and 10 for Mississippi State at the 35-yard line. There's a flag on the play, and the ball was kicked out of bounds. Let's go downstairs now to Chris Marlowe. Chris?
All right, Charlie, you were talking about Jason Watt's alligator wrestling ability. Well, apparently there wasn't much to do where he grew up. He began wrestling alligators at the age of 12. He messes mainly with smaller alligators, 3 to 5 feet long. Now, he tells me the secret is to land, catch the alligator behind the neck, then put it in a headlock until it gives up, kind of like my old pickup routine. Takes about 30 seconds, no problem. Back to you, Charlie.
His dad says of Mr. Watts, sometimes I wonder about that boy. It is 1st and 10, and here's Matt, and he's going to be sacked way back at the 21-yard line by Jeff Snedeker. We told you about Snedeker and the bad shoulder. He played all of last year with a torn rotator cuff. Had it surgically repaired, still not 100%, but there he was for the first sack of the ball game.
Well, to Lynn Amade's credit, he decides he wants to give Madkin some confidence, goes with the play action, nobody open. There are only 3 guys in the route, and as a result, Snedeker not exactly on top of him quickly, but nonetheless he gets the sack and bad field position now for the Bulldogs.
That's the 2nd sack of the season for Jeff Snedeker. A loss of 10, 2nd and 20, and that's Prentiss in motion. And they go to the bread and butter man, Johnson, and he gets nothing. Now we're going to get something out of Mike Adamle. Michael?
Well, Charlie and Todd, if you felt the stadium where you're at tremble a little bit, just 300 miles away, this might be the reason. Cedric Irvin scoring from 3 yards out, and Michigan State leads #1 Ohio State 25-24 in the 4th quarter, guys.
That's not exactly the way John Cooper had it scripted.
Well, I also sense, even if Ohio State comes back and win, look at what happened to UCLA last week by only winning by 4. They could drop out of the BCS in the top 3 rather.
3rd down and 20 yards to go. The line of scrimmage is the 25-yard line. The Bulldogs are going backwards. Madkin's going to throw for it. Throwing long down the sideline. Incomplete. Intended for Kevin Love.
But there's a flag, Charlie. Love is their best athlete. A converted quarterback, their speedster, a legitimate 4.3 in the 40, man. I say legitimate, at least that's what I've been told. And this is one of the better throws of Madkin. He puts it on the hands of Love, and frankly, it looks like it was a little bit incidental, but that's not what the official saw.
On the defense, penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot, creates an automatic 1st down.
Take a look here at the end of the play. Here's Zerker who cuts in. He would have been better off, and of course you never know with the ball, but at the last minute Zerker throws his arm in, throws off the timing of Love, and that's what the official sees, and he throws the flag. Now when you see it that time, it's not as debatable.
Looked like a good call, didn't it?
Yeah.
Kentucky has been killing themselves all year with penalties.
You know what, Charlie? If Zerker is running with him, stride for stride, he throws the arm out, they don't call that. But if he's behind and he throws the arm out, then he's going to get the penalty.
Kentucky now 3 penalties, 35 yards. And Kentucky leads the SEC in penalty yardage against. Mississippi State's going to take a timeout after they got the first down, but they still trail by 3 here in the first quarter. Well, the Bulldogs have some work to do. 1st and 10 at their 40-yard line. Offensively so far, Mississippi State has amassed minus 12 yards. That's Matt Butler in motion. There's Madkin from the shotgun sideline, and it's complete to Butler. But he picks up only about 4 yards on the play.
A little bit of a confidence builder for Madkin because he is, needless to say, struggled early on. Charlie, we're looking at Kentucky, best passing team in the SEC. Mississippi State, the worst passing team in the SEC at only 135 yards per game. You see there the total yardage. Mississippi State not off to a big start here offensively.
2nd down, a long 5. They have to get right to the 50-yard line for the first down. Here's Johnson. Oh, big hole.
He's gone.
James Johnson. He's gonna bust it.
The diet that Kentucky has had defensively over the last couple of games is they want to blitz their free safety. They bring Zerker up in a run support situation, but if he doesn't make the play, Mississippi State can go the distance. Zerker is the man who misses the tackle about 5 yards downfield. There's nobody left. And James Johnson at 228 pounds showed some sprinter speed.
55 yards, good for his 7th touchdown of the season. And Mississippi State with Brian Hazelwood for the extra point try. Did not make it. Ding dong off the upright.
And a huge miss. Last week he missed one, and this one he did too. Now that's a huge miss because now a field goal can tie it. But the offensive line for Mississippi State, many people anticipated might be dominant in this game simply because of the fact that Kentucky is not that large. Look at the pulling guard, creates a gap. Johnson knifes through it, and right there you see Zerker misses him, and he's gone. Zerker is the last line of defense. That's the free safety. And Johnson is just completely untouched as he goes into the end zone. Take a look at good shit. Here's Zerker right there. He comes up and run support, misses him. There's nobody left. The blue shirts who had corralled to the ball so much earlier, this time were not able to fill the running gaps, and Johnson goes the distance.
65, Craig Moore with the big block on Zerker. And that opened the hole for James Johnson. If there is a rap against Johnson, is that he's not quick enough. They say he's got a 4.6 40, but after all, he's 6'2" and 224 pounds, and he took it to the house in a hurry.
Every time I hear that, Charlie, I'm reminded that there was a guy that came out of Mississippi Valley State back in 1985 who they timed in 4.62. And they said, I just don't know if he's fast enough to play in the NFL. And now every single receiving record later, people go, oh yeah, Jerry Rice, pretty good player.
Well, James Johnson, who came into the game with an average of 119 yards per ball game. We told you at the top of the program that if he rushes, a sloppy kick, and it's dropped at the 3-yard line by Chetty Ackham. And Ackham is down at about the 12-yard line. There's a lot more college football coming up tonight. First on the mothership at ESPN at 7:30 Eastern Time, Syracuse and West Virginia. The Orangemen led by Donovan McNabb. And, of course, famous Amos Zeraway for West Virginia. And then coming up later after our ball game, Wyoming and Colorado State. Live from Fort Collins. And that's immediately after we are done. But we have miles to go before we go to sleep. And now let's see how Kentucky responds after the big 55-yard rumble by James Johnson. He is couched to throw, and he completes it out of the backfield. Anthony White, who is the leading receiver on this Kentucky team, but he didn't pick up very much, did he?
The one thing that Mississippi State is doing an outstanding job of is on these little loop passes to which White and Homer have been so effective, breaking tackles and getting downfield. The dog safeties, like right there, number 17, Tim Nelson, have been coming up in support and making the play. You see the strap around his left shoulder. He has had some problems with that, and Joe Lee Dunn has done a good job of stressing the importance of making the tackles, not letting people break tackles. They've done a good job thus far.
White picked up 3 on the play, so it's 2nd and 7. Hayden, Kentucky's favorite son, Tim Couch calls timeout, not liking what he sees of Joe Lee Dunn's defense. 6-3 Mississippi State.
Joe Lee Dunn and Hal Mumme have been competing against each other since 1982. Take a look at what he does to confuse. Right here, take a look at the bodies over here. He has tilted to the side. Couch sees this. He tries to audible out, and now the shifting begins. They start to move people right, left, right, left. Couch is confused. He calls timeout. Charlie, we pointed out that early on, Couch had made some questionable decisions. Joe Lee Dunn doing a great job of putting some strange things into the head of number 2.
Here's Couch rolling, throwing, incomplete. Intended for Kevin Coleman as Couch tried to throw across his body. But what we have here tonight are two of the most innovative minds in all of college football.
Yep.
Joe Lee Dunn on the defensive side of the ball, and Hal Mumme, the offensive guru of Kentucky. You know, when Tim Couch first arrived here and Mumme sat him down, Couch said, "Can I take a look at your playbook?" Mumme looked at him and said, "There is no playbook." "Sit down, son." And he sat him in front of a blackboard and basically showed him about 10 or 12 plays, passing, another 5 or 6 running. He said, "That's our playbook." They have lots of disguises around their plays, but that's the essence of Hal Mumme. And coming out of the backfield is Anthony White. He's got himself a first down across the 25-yard line.
This time Joe Lee Dunn decided that he wanted to drop 7 in coverage, and the result was that in the zone defense, White able to catch it, come underneath, and get the ball. And his complaint there is you can see him animated as people did not come up quickly enough to get White. But White is a player, as we pointed out, over 60 catches on the season out of the backfield. Obviously the leading running back receiver in the nation.
Mississippi State has given up only 16.6 points per game on the average this year, although they were beaten pretty soundly 2 weeks ago in their last outing against LSU. Here's Derek Homer. And now, here's Mike Adamle.
All right, Charlie and Todd, Oklahoma State at number 23, Texas. The Cowboys tie things up on a fluke play. Tony Lindsay's pass deflected by a Longhorn defender right into the hands of that man right there, Ethan Howell. He goes 55 yards. They missed the extra point. The game is tied at 34. Guys?
Okay, Mike.
Reminded me of a game I played in San Diego one time. The exact same thing happened. Ricocheted off. AFC Championship game. Raymond Chester went 65 yards for a touchdown. I'm just telling you that because I was so thankful we went to the bowl that year because of that.
Fake end around. Craig Geese gets out of harm's way. Now let's see if he can do anything with it. Gets out of bounds and gains nothing on the play, but he could have lost nearly 10 yards.
Good pursuit and not to be fooled Mississippi State defense. Take a look at the pursuit. They tried this earlier, remember, with the reverse, and nobody was fooled. In this case, not fooled again is number 48. That's Kevin Sluter. He doesn't make the play, but he forces the ball out of bounds to where it's a negligible gain. And once again, Charlie, Kentucky up in 3rd and long.
Really no gain at all. 3rd down and 9. At the 25, they have to get just shy of the 35-yard line for the first down. Here's Couch in trouble, gets rid of it, and he completes it to Anthony White. White breaks a tackle, and on second effort, he gets very close to the first down. It'll depend on where they mark the ball. It looks like on the second effort, Kentucky will pick up the first down.
Well, Anthony White did this on his own. Couch does a great job of getting rid of the ball. But as was pointed out at the top by Chris Marlowe, the most he has been hit in his career was against Mississippi State, and he is getting whacked. Take a look at how he just barely gets this off. Gets sandwiched between 2 Mississippi State defenders, then Anthony White does what he has been doing all year long, making big plays, getting the ball downfield, helping out his buddy Tim Couch by getting the first.
White, the leading receiver for Kentucky, 4 catches, 28 yards already. He's the leading receiver on the season coming out of the backfield. A fumble. Mississippi State says it's got the ball. And so do the officials.
Now take a look at what happens here, Charlie. Tim Couch tries a little bit too hard to be deceptive. And in doing so on kind of the fake bootleg, he messes up a little bit with the handoff. You're going to see this. Look at the exchange. Couch comes back and tries to do a little bit of a bootleg. Watch this. And the ball just doesn't quite get in. Look at that. Fakes a little bit. And, of course, Kendrick Shanklin is a guy who hasn't played. He's a freshman. He just now gets in. Take a look at that. The ball's a little bit short, comes off the heel. Mississippi State able to get the ball. Look at the number of white shirts in there. Tough way for the freshman to come in, the true freshman to come in and cough up the ball.
Now let's see if Mississippi State can capitalize. Here's Johnson again. And Johnson to the 25-yard line, a pickup of about 8 on the play. So James Johnson, who is the heart and soul of this Mississippi State offense, keeping up his end of the bargain.
And Edward Smith, who made the play 2 weeks ago, he's arguably the best player along with Barron Simpson on the defense for Mississippi State. He recovered the ball. Johnson got tackled once again by Zerker, leading tackler for Kentucky in the defensive backfield at safety.
So it was a pickup of 7 for Johnson. And here's Johnson again, and on second effort, a first down.
Johnson on the carry.
Well, one of the questions that people have with regards to James Johnson is to whether or not he slows down. He seems to start off strong and then fade a little bit. At least that's the impression by many people where Johnson is concerned. Take a look at the big first quarters that he has had, this one being no exception. Now, is he going to be able to maintain it on this cold night? I would think, Charlie, that unless Kentucky makes some adjustments here and starts to get like 8 or 9 people in the box, this could be a huge night for Johnson. Could be over 1,000 this evening.
Who came into the game averaging 119 yards per game. He may have it before the end of the quarter. Johnson again. And Johnson taken down at about the 18-yard line. Now let's go downstairs quickly to Chris Marlowe. Chris?
Charlie, when the Kentucky defense came off after the James Johnson touchdown, it was an angry bunch. Defensive lineman Mark Jacobs was hot. He started getting into it with the linebackers. He said, don't start pointing fingers at us. Talking about the defensive line, Jeff Snedeker stood up and told him to get out of his face. Suffice it to say, a very emotional defensive sideline in that last break. Back to you.
Probably too emotional for defensive coordinator Mike Majors.
This is really costly, Charlie. There's 9 seconds remaining in the quarter. There's no need for Mississippi State to call a timeout, even if they are confused. They could have let the clock run down, let the quarter run out, and all would have been well. Once again, the inexperience of the quarterback.
Absolutely. They had no need to take that timeout. They could have let the clock run out into the quarter. Tomorrow on the Deuce, 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 Pacific, it's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Samstown 250 from the Las Vegas Speedway. The track measures 1.5 miles in distance, the last race of the year in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and you won't want to miss it. Tomorrow at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. 18-year-old true freshman Wayne Madkin from Huntsville, Alabama. He is one of 5 SEC quarterbacks who are freshmen.
Yeah, they have a bunch. Of course, it makes you look a lot better when you can hand it off to number 22. Kentucky needs to start shooting some gaps. They have to alter some things. Mike Major wasn't all that impressed with James Johnson coming into this game. He didn't talk about him in the same tenor of voice as he talked about, say, Kevin Falk, but I'm thinking at this point he's a little bit more impressed.
One would think 2nd down and 8 from the 19, likely the last play of the first quarter. Nope, they're going to pass it. Heading toward the end zone, out of bounds, incomplete. Prentiss was the intended receiver.
I'll be honest, Charlie, I'm really surprised at that. Ride your horse, man. Make him grab the reins, the bridle, whatever, to stop your horse. You got to ride him, especially as ineffective as this quarterback has been over the last 2 games.
Well, you run your guy until you can prove that you can stop him.
Remember when I was playing with Kenny Stabler and he had Mark Van Egan. He used to go left like 5, 6 straight times. He said, ooh, play action, play action. He says, I'll wait till they stop him, then we'll go.
And so on 3rd down and 8. The line of scrimmage, the 19. They have to get just inside the 10. Madkin looking to throw. Throwing, and it's incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Reginald Kelly, as the first quarter comes to an end.
Marlon McCree makes a terrific play stripping the ball. That looked like the tight end had it, but McCree comes in and bats it away from him.
And so the first quarter belongs to Mississippi State on the 55-yard touchdown run by James Johnson. The first play of the second quarter will be a field goal try of about 36 yards. Straight on for Brian Hazelwood. He's 7 of 12 this year, and he is now 7 of 13. So Hazelwood has missed an extra point, and now a field goal try. Last time we checked, Michigan State was leading Ohio State. Let's get an update now from Mike Adamler.
And Charlie and Todd, more trouble for the Buckeyes. Joe Germain back to pass here in the 4th quarter. But watch number 98, Julian Peterson with the sack. Germain fumbles the ball, recovered by Josh Shaw. The Spartans later kicked the field goal, and now they lead by 8 with 5:49 remaining in the game. Guys?
Nick Saban's team about to pull off perhaps the upset of the year.
That would be indeed.
1st and 10 for Kentucky at their 20. Here's Couch. And Couch is sacked for the 2nd time tonight.
Edward Smith is really having a good game. 2 weeks ago, he was non-existent, but he is getting off tonight. The field goal, Hazelwood really is struggling, his confidence. 2 extra points he's missed now, Charlie, in a row. LSU and tonight, and here, once again, he hooks it. That's 3 times now he's hooked it. He's going to have to make some sort of adjustment with his steps. And Jackie Sherrill not very happy about it because they needed that 6-point margin.
They still nurse a 3-point lead. A loss of 5 on the sack by Smith, his 5th of the season. Here's Couch firing near sideline. And to the 30-yard line, Derek Homer with the reception and still well short of a 1st down. And now let's go downstairs to Chris Marlowe.
All right, Charlie and Todd, Tim Nelson has a badly sprained ankle. They're putting ice on it for 15 minutes, according to the trainer. Then they take the ice off, and they're going to retape it and see if he can go back in. But as you look at him right now, you can see he's in great pain, and I'm not sure he's going to make it back.
Nelson came into the game with a gimpy shoulder and 2 sacks to his credit this year, and he's a dog safety. That's his job description, not an editorial opinion.
And Ashley Cooper, the other dog safety, almost picked that one and went to the house. Tim Couch, he may have good percentage, but some of the throws right now, he really floats this ball out. Take a look, changes his mind. Now look at that float. Floats just enough and almost in there to get the pick is Cooper, just a little bit short.
Derek Homer, the intended receiver, and Couch is having a struggle tonight here in the 1st half. 4th down and 10 at the 20-yard line. Jimmy Carter, the left-footed punter, with Prentiss standing deep. Shanked it, gets a good bounce. And when all is said and done, Jimmy Carter has done pretty well for himself. 42-yard punt and no return. But the Wildcats are trailing by 3 here at home in Lexington. Charlie Steiner and Todd Christensen, as we are 13 minutes and 19 seconds away from intermission. Mississippi State now all the way back at their own 23. Following the 42-yard punt, there was a 15-yard personal foul assessed to Mississippi State. Madkin gives to Johnson, and Johnson just runs over some people, including Jeff Snedeker and John Rader.
Well, Jolie Dunn was the man. He was the one they talked about, had to get some pressure on Couch. They say they weren't going to sack him, but they certainly hit him a lot. In essentially a quarter of action in 4 series, they've gone with 6 blitzes, and already they've had a hurry, a quarterback hit, and 2 sacks. And really, if you've noticed, it seems to me that this is affecting Couch a little bit. He's got a little bit of the happy feet as a result of people in his face. Kentucky's going to have to make some adjustments in their protection.
On 2nd down and 6. Johnson again. This time he gets nothing at all.
Johnson on the carry.
Brought down by Chris Gayton.
Stopped by Gayton, number 33.
Gayton from Montreal. Not exactly a hotbed of football talent, or at least collegiately, but there he is a strong safety, doing a good job.
We saw a pretty good one from Montreal last week.
Yes, we did.
Richard Mercier, the offensive tackle from Miami, and he flattened a whole lot of Boston College Eagles last week. 3rd down and 6 at the 27. Madkin is up over center with the I formation behind him. And on the option, here's Johnson. 1st down. He's out of bounds at the 34-yard line, just a shade past the 1st down marker.
Now, what I've been critical, or we've been critical, I guess, of Madkin and some of the decision-making, here he does a great job. He draws the man to him and pitches right at the last minute, comes down. The commitment is made by Smith, able to get the ball to Johnson, who gets the 1st down. Madkin, a terrific athlete, 6'4", 205. He's like a 4.55 guy. This is really his strength, Charlie. I think that Mississippi State has to consider doing this, making this a more integral part of their offense.
On 1st and 10, Mississippi State at their own 33. Johnson again, and he gains only about 2 yards this time. Now here's Mike Adamle.
Well, Charlie and Todd, last year LSU beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Tonight the Tide returned the favor in the final seconds. 44 seconds remaining. Andrew Zile, the freshman quarterback, up top to Quincy Jackson. Nice deflection there. They completed a two-point conversion and win at 22-16 for Coach Mike DeVos. And with 2:30 left in this game, Michigan State still on top of Ohio State, 28-24. Guys?
Whatever happened to LSU?
Tough
What
year.
a big
Tough year.
disappointment down there in Baton Rouge.
Yep.
Second down and 7. Here's an end
Good
around.
call.
Here's Prentiss.
Great call.
Prentiss has some room down the sideline. And finally run out of bounds inside the 20-yard line at about the 16. And didn't he have a cordon of blockers?
And let me tell you something, Lynn Amity, what a great call. Great call. Everybody in the secondary is pointed to number 22. And as soon as they make the fake, take a look at the blue shirts that buy into this. What a great call. Kentucky, of course, is famous for the reverses, but take a look at the blue shirts. All the blue shirts coming in this direction. And so when he comes here, there are no blue shirts. As he cuts up the sideline, shows the speed. Boy, that's just a great call.
A pickup of 48 yards for Kevin Prentiss. And it's first down at the 16 of Kentucky. And back to the plodding ground game of James Johnson.
Ball carried by Johnson.
In the SEC West, here's Mississippi State. The question about them coming in, while their record was 5-2 overall, their opponents had a collective record of 15-39. So they wondered, how good is this team? Well, right now, they're sitting pretty, and if they should win out in the West, they would win the SEC Western Division because they have a game with Arkansas down the road.
Well, I got to tell you, this is not the same team we saw 2 weeks ago that just laid down and died in Baton Rouge 41-6. I mean, they are really playing some good football tonight, particularly on the defensive side.
You know, when we talked to Jackie Sherrill the other day, I asked him about the game. I said, I just finished watching it on tape. He said, did you burn it? We did. Second down and 7 at the Kentucky 13. They give it to Johnson again, like a battering ram. He gets to the 10-yard line. Short of the first down, however, by about 5. Jackie said he wanted to give Johnson the ball between 25 and 30 times. Well, he's going to do that by the half.
Yeah, he needs to do that. But, of course, the thing is that for Mississippi State to win, Madkin has to make some plays. And here's an example of that right now. Right here, 3rd and 5. Madkin has to make a play for them to be successful.
Johnson, 13 carries, 94 yards already here in the first half. That's Butler in motion. And Madkin rolling the other way, throwing incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Terrence McCaskey, overthrown.
Jeff Snedeker is not fooled. He's a veteran outside linebacker. They go with a misdirection. Take a look at what happens. Snedeker, number 17, is going to come from the side. The misdirection is not going to fool him as he goes right for Madkin. Watch number 17, not fooled at all. Madkin has to throw it away. And once again, this is what's happening with Hazelwood. Not a lot of confidence.
And now a field goal try of 29 yards. Hazelwood just missed from 36, but this is right down Broadway. And so Mississippi State lengthens its lead, 9-3.
You take a look on the face of Hazelwood, that's a face of relief. Don't tell me that he isn't a little bit relieved right there to have finally gotten that one through. Even though it's 29 yards and right down the middle as a kicker, the kicking motion, Charlie, is not unlike golf. One little flaw and it goofs it up, it can slice or hook.
Now let's go downstairs to Chris Marlowe. What's cooking, Chris?
Thanks.
You know, Charlie,
I'm over here at the Nutter Training Facility just across the street from the football field where every day in practice, each Kentucky wide receiver has to catch 100 balls. Tennis balls. They come out of this machine 75 to 80 miles an hour. And the idea is to get some reps, increase your concentration, and soften up your hands. And sometimes it even works. Okay.
I tell you what, let me make a point here. I won't dig or kill or block if you don't try and catch the ball, Chris, all right?
The omnipresent Chris Marlowe.
That's great. Let me tell you something, that's a great drill. I used to, when I was 100 years ago, when we didn't have the machines, used to throw it over my shoulder, and Craig Yeast, you can see one of the great receivers there of Kentucky, utilizes that one.
A lot of people don't know Chris Marlowe is one of the great volleyball players in American history. And we're not just blowing smoke. but Shanklin is, and he's across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. Kendrick Shanklin.
Tackled by Presley, number 56.
Hometown of Baton Rouge. Very surprising that LSU let him go, but then again at the time, you know, they had Falk, Mealy, and Collins, and really didn't feel like they needed a tailback.
So from the 31-yard line, let's see if Hal Mummy's offense, orchestrated by Tim Couch, can get in gear. They're struggling against Joe Lee Dunn's defense. Mississippi State coming back the other way. As Derek Homer dropped the ball, and it's probably just as well that he did. They would have lost yardage had he caught it.
And again, Cooper coming right on top of him. Even if he makes the catch, and in that case, it's better that he didn't. It would have been about a 2 or 3 yard loss. They are just not giving Couch anything downfield. Homer can't come up with it, but Cooper's there anyway.
Just as well that he dropped it. 2nd down and 10. And so Tim Couch, who came out firing early, has been shut down of late. Had to get out to about the 41.5-yard line for the 1st down.
Once again, Mississippi State overloading things, confusing Couch a little bit.
And here's the pass to White out of the backfield. He's brought down at the 34, but picked up only maybe 2, perhaps 3 yards on the play.
Couch is really getting fooled by what Mississippi State is doing. They're putting 4 on one side of the line. They're dropping people off. Mississippi State has enough athletes that they can do what Pittsburgh really made famous with their zone blitz, which is they're people that normally blitz that can be in coverage, do a lot of different things. Joe Lee Dunn really has it working tonight.
As you see, their pass defense has improved immeasurably in now his 3rd season in calling defensive schemes at Mississippi State. 3rd and long. Over the middle. Oh, what a catch that was by Kevin Coleman, and a 1st down at the 45-yard line.
Was a great catch. The 2nd read of Couch. He looks to the left and gets the ball back to the middle, and you're right. Salvaged there by the great hands of Coleman. Protection is finally very good. Has a chance, looks right, looks left, comes back. There's Coleman in the middle of the field, extends himself, and as you pointed out, Charlie, a great snag.
Pickup of a dozen for Coleman. That is his 28th reception of the season. So it's 1st and 10 for the Kentucky Wildcats. And here's Derek Homer. Homer breaks it. Homer is heading home. 54 yards and a cloud of dust.
Charlie, that came off of an audible. You could see Couch get up as he looked down to Coleman. He motioned something. Coleman went out to the wideout. He audibled out of a throw to a run, and that's something that Hal Mummey has said he has been doing all year with regularity. At the beginning of the season, Charlie, they were about 68-32 pass to run. Now it's 62-38. They're taking advantage of the running lanes when they have them.
Homer's 5th touchdown of the season. Now Kentucky can reclaim the lead with the extra point try by Seth Hampson. And Hampson's kick is good. Hampson on the year is now 37 out of 40.
Homer gets the job done. Many people felt like he had been in Hal Mummey's doghouse earlier in the season because he wasn't getting the ball enough. He thought that White was getting the ball too much and maybe he wasn't going to get an opportunity.
Before the run by Derek Homer, Kentucky had but 1 yard of rushing. Now they lead it 10-9.
Matt Brown is the man who makes the play here. We talked about him at the top that he was going to struggle maybe a little bit in his first start, but he makes the key block. It gets Homer downfield for the touchdown.
Here is Pig Prather, and Prather is going to break it. Has 1 man to beat, and finally brought down at the 35-yard line. His name is Edward, but everybody calls him Pig. Pig Prather. 55-yard kickoff return.
Really, the kicker is the one who stops him a little bit, just long enough for Anthony Wajda to make the tackle. Boy, the momentum seemed to be Kentucky's, but Prather with that big run back now setting up at the 34-yard line, but he reverts back to the Bulldogs.
The reason they call him Pig is that he has a intergalactic appetite. And it's the name even his mom calls him. I'm sure she's proud of that. 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line. And here's James Johnson. Johnson to the 30-yard line. A pickup of 4 on the play.
Stop up by Dennis Johnson, number 56.
Here's the problem sometimes when you go with the short kick, and that is the kicker has to make the play.
Oh,
in this
boy.
case, Hanson's going, oh, no. Yeah, he's doing the Three Stooges thing, but he's able to slow him down just enough so Wajda can bring him down.
I did a good job of getting in the way, didn't I, Coach?
Yeah.
It's second down and 6 yards to go at the 30-yard line. Prather is now the up back in the I formation with James Johnson. And here's Johnson again, and Johnson showing some muscle. Picks up 3 more yards on the play.
What happens is that when Mississippi State goes to their 2 tight end set, that is when Kentucky can get 9 in the box. And that's when the Mississippi State offensive linemen are outnumbered. That's why you saw the blue shirts in the backfield. Once again, coming back to the point that you made earlier, Charlie, that is that Madkin at some point has to make a play.
It is third down and a long 5. And the 55,000 here at Commonwealth Stadium trying to exhort on their defensive core. Madkin from the shotgun. Looking over the middle. Now looks sideline, and throwing it out of bounds. Now let's go downstairs to Chris Marlowe. Chris?
Charlie, apparently Tim Couch dinged his hand on the second series of this game. They just had the ice pack on it. They were looking at his right thumb, and he's working on it. I don't know if you can see it through the maze of people here, but they had the ice bag on it, so that might affect his throwing just a little bit. A ding thumb for Tim Couch. Back to you.
And so on fourth down, a field goal try of 47 yards. On its way.
Nope, short.
And did not make it. So Brian Hazelwood is now 1 out of 2. 10-9 Kentucky. What are we going to do come Rose Bowl time?
Man, that is a huge, huge upset. I mean, it's hard to believe that's the same team that got beat by Oregon, what, 58-14 or something like that?
And what about Michigan State? What an up and down year it's been for Nick Saban's Spartans. First and 10 now for Kentucky at the 30-yard line, and that's Derek Homer. And Homer loses about 5 on the play.
Well, that was the same play, but Sluter wasn't fooled that time. Able to cut through the gaps.
A 270-pound junior from Pensacola.
Just completely unblocked in that case. It appeared to me that maybe Matt Brown, the young man who we have been talking up, who made the key block on the other touchdown, didn't get the audible in that case.
A loss of 3, 2nd and 13. The line of scrimmage, the 27. They have to get to the 40. Couch back to throw. Ball seemed to be tipped, and yet it's still complete to Kevin Coleman at the 37-yard line, maybe 2 yards shy of the first.
Interesting adjustment that Kentucky has made here, at least on that particular play. Normally they have 5, sometimes 6 people out on the pattern. That time they wanted to protect, so they only had 3 out on the pattern. In this case, Coleman, who made a couple of clutch catches earlier, is able to get it. Now 3rd and short.
3rd, a long 2. Couch calling an automatic from the shotgun with 4 wides, 2 to the left and 2 to the right. Couch throws. That is picked off. That is Ashley Cooper, and he is gone for the touchdown.
Couch's pass picked off by Cooper, number 1, and returned for
That
the
is the
touchdown.
11th interception against Couch for the year. A 45-yard return for the touch, and it's 15-10 Mississippi State.
Well, Joe Lee Dunn is pulling all the stops out. He gets pulverized, and Cooper, is who we've been talking about, had been making some great tackles. This time on the crossing route, able to make the pick and go to the house.
So Mississippi State, which made life miserable for Kentucky and Tim Couch last year in a come-from-behind win. Now they're going to go for 2, making life awfully miserable for Mr. Couch again this year. Down 21-3 at the half last year in Starkville. Mississippi State's going to call a timeout. They outscored Kentucky 25-6 in the second half. And now they're doing the same here in the first half. Ashley Cooper with the interception, but here's how it happened. Oh, we'll get to it in just a moment. First, the 2-point conversion try. And Madkin, no, it's going to be picked off. They'll go for 2 points if they can get it. And wait a minute.
They're going to say that Madkin was down.
Oh, they call Madkin down.
Once again, the inexperience. Just take it. You know what? Because the ball coming up in the air in that situation, I know what his thinking. His thinking is, if I can get the ball to the end zone, maybe something will happen. Instead, the official said that he was down. No good, and the result is that Kentucky will not get those 2 points.
Now let's go back to the interception and how Mississippi State was able to score the touchdown.
Well, Edward Smith, who we had talked about, he has Couch's number literally. Number 2 collides with number 2, whacks him to the ground, and that causes the throw that Cooper is able to come up with. Cuts in front on the slant route, and he's gone to the house. Cooper playing an outstanding game here in the first half with tackles, coverage, and of course this pick that results in 6 points for Mississippi State. Now judge for yourself as to whether or not Madkin was down. Snedeker gets in on the play action. See if his knee is down. The ball, well, that's awfully close. That's awfully close. Dennis Johnson, the great athlete we were talking about, had a chance to go for the deuce, but right there the whistles are being blown, and that's it.
Well, that was a tough one for Kentucky. They thought they might have been able to put 2 points in their back pocket. Chris Marlowe talked about the dinged right thumb of Tim Couch. His body has been dinged by this defensive effort by Mississippi State. Now let's go back to the studio and Mike Adamle after the fair catch in the end zone.
Oklahoma at State at number 23, Texas, and Chris Stanton wins it at the end, bouncing off the left upright. Texas prevails 37-34.
So now it'll be 1st and 10 for Kentucky at their own 20-yard line. Chris Marlowe reporting that Tim Couch had his thumb bruised or at least somewhat damaged, his right thumb, on the second series of the ball game. And his passes have been something less than accurate tonight. This pass is complete to Anthony White, who gets to the line of scrimmage, and really that's about all. And there's the ever-present Edward Smith.
Stopped by Darren
and David Johnson. I mean, they just fly to the ball in this case. They're making the catches, but Charlie, with these 2-yard gains to the backs, Kentucky's going to have to make some adjustments in their passing game.
Couch is just 16 of 21 for 105 yards and 1 interception. Hardly impressive numbers for Mr. Couch. And 2nd and 9. Couch in trouble again. This time he's going to run it. And Couch is wrestled out of bounds at about the 29-yard line, about a yard shy of the first down by Edward Smith.
Well, the crowd wants a penalty, but that's not what it's about. Menifee and Couch are jawing at one another. Tim Couch decides to make the spin and cut up the field instead of run out of bounds, do the safe thing. He's 6'5", 225. He's a big guy. He'll take on Menifee. Take a look here. He has a chance to go out of bounds. The city 360s. Gets clobbered out of bounds, but he's a tough guy. He gets up and says, okay, bring it on.
3rd and a long one. That was Kenwan Smith's fault. The answer coming from Bill Goss.
Dead ball foul. Contact made by the defensive team. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Tim Couch has learned a lot from watching the John Elways and Dan Marinos bark out the counts and get people to go offside. But then again, Charlie, the other thing that I'm thinking about is even though you get the offside penalty, it also indicates that maybe you're struggling a little bit offensively if you're going to those lengths to get the first.
On 1st and 10 at the 34. Couch with a lot of time. Firing over the middle. That was some pass. Kevin Coleman to the 40-yard line of Mississippi State. A pickup of 26. That's what we're expecting to see from Couch.
And one of the few times that Mississippi State opts for a pure zone. They rush 4 and they have their 7 people in coverage in a zone. That's the deep end. You can see Coleman right there. There's the route, the deep end, and Couch lays it right on the money, and Coleman can't quite decide what to do, so he finally lowers his head and gets a little extra yardage.
I'm reminded of what Craig Yeast told us yesterday. Catching a Tim Couch ball is like watching him throw a hard ball and catching a feather. And here's Anthony White. And White has some room in another first down inside the 30-yard line, brought down by Eric Daniel. A pickup of an even dozen on the play.
One of the problems that happens is that Mississippi State decides to overload and they jam those 5 or 6 people in there. Couch has the right audible this time. They get him outnumbered. Look at the blue shirts downfield. Good block by the wideout as White is able to get around the corner and get the first down.
White quick enough to get past the outstretched arms of Ashley Cooper. So it's 1st and 10 now at the Mississippi State 28-yard line. Here's Couch firing, overthrowing Lance Mickelson, who was looking over his right shoulder, and the ball was headed toward his left shoulder. There is a flag on the play, however.
Well, obviously it's against Kentucky, or they wouldn't be talking with Barron Simpson.
Illegal formation on the offense. They didn't have 7 linemen. The penalty's 5 yards, still first down.
Shows a lot of, Charlie, I was about to say, this shows a lot of confidence in the defense when you take that, because I'm thinking the defenses around the country, inevitably when they go against Kentucky, they don't want to give them the extra play, even if it is just 5 yards. So this shows that Joe Lee Dunn has some confidence in his troops.
Well, it backs him up another 5 and out of field goal range, certainly for now. But Mr. Couch is back to work, and he zips a pass, and he finds Craig Yeast at the 20-yard line, about a yard shy of the first down.
One of the things that the defense has done, which I've noticed, is they're jamming the other receivers at the line of scrimmage, but they're not doing that with Yeast. They're giving him a lot of respect. They're giving him the 10-yard cushion. Yeast able to take advantage of it. Roberson drops him, but not before he picks up about 13.
Craig Yeast, 5'9", 166 pounds, who nearly quit on Kentucky a couple of years ago until Hal Mumme and Tim Couch came to town. Then he was happy to stay at his state school. Throwing over the middle, incomplete, intended for Craig Yeast. Yeast was so disgusted under the previous administration, he was ready to transfer. And then the arrival of Mumme and Tim Couch, and now Craig Yeast thought to be perhaps the 3rd receiver to be taken in the NFL draft next spring.
It's interesting to show that the size factor is very overrated now. 5'9", 166, you think big deal, but he is highly rated. Jaquez Green, remember last year, similar physique, a 2nd-round pick.
3rd and 2 from the 20-yard line. And whistles blow and flags fly, and that pass for Yeast is for naught.
Well, evidently, Couch feels confident that he can get that anytime he wants, because 3rd and 2, you would have thought they wouldn't have thrown, or 2nd and 2, rather, they wouldn't have thrown the ball up, but they did, knowing that he could get Mississippi State to jump offside.
Illegal contact by the defensive team. 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's unfortunate because Joe Lee Dunn can't be very happy with a group that up to this point has played not flawlessly, but certainly well. There's about 3 guys that jump off there as Couch is able to entice the infraction.
First down and 10 for Kentucky at the 15-yard line. Lance Mickelson flanked way to the top of your screen. 4 wides. Couch throwing over the middle into the end zone. Out of bounds was Kevin Coleman.
This time Mississippi State comes with 6. They came on a blitz, and Couch knew he had to get it rid. He had to get rid of it a little sooner than he wanted to, and the result is he's a little bit long for Coleman.
Tim Couch from Hyden, Kentucky. The population is 350. As you enter the town, there's a sign that says, "Welcome to Hyden, home of number 2, Tim Couch." Why is he wearing number 2? That was the number his brother wore in high school. So his brother actually would eventually make this number quite famous indeed. And there is Kevin Coleman inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line.
You know, outside of Craig Yeast, you never know who's going to star for these Kentucky wideouts, who's going to come through for them, and Coleman seems to be the guy tonight, coming through with some clutch catches. The other thing that I haven't seen up to this point, Charlie, I can't remember a catch by a tight end. Mississippi State has to single up the tight ends. This is a good opportunity for Couch to take advantage of that.
On 3rd and 2.
Again,
throwing for the end zone, incomplete. There's a flag on the play.
I don't believe it. Is that going to be 3 straight times they've been able to get him to jump offside?
Mississippi State pointing at Kentucky. Kentucky pointing at Mississippi State.
I thought you were taught not to point fingers.
Well, when you're 320, you can point whatever you want to point. Bill Goss.
Before the snap, offsides on the defense.
Did it again.
Half the distance.
So Tim Couch and the vocal cadence is driving the defensive front of Mississippi State crazy. So now it's 1st and goal at the 7-yard line.
Mississippi State penalized half the distance.
In fact, it'll be down to about the 3. That's the 4th first down by penalty against Mississippi State tonight. 4 of their 5.
Charlie, A.J. Simon, their blocker, is in at fullback. I'm thinking they're going to run.
Nope. Here's Couch. He's got some room to roam if he wants to. He's throwing. He's running. Did he get in? Yes!
What did I tell you? They're going to run.
He brings so much to the dance, does Tim Couch. 6 feet 5 inches, 225 pounds. Got a rifle arm. He can run. Not afraid to take a lick. And there are a lot of folks who think this is his final year at Kentucky, although he can come back here next year. And now the extra point try for Seth Hansen. But there's going to be a timeout first.
Well, the reason for the timeout is they need to go for 2. There's a situation they're up by 1 point, or to go 17-15 makes no sense. That's why they need to sprint out and call time. Tim Couch shows his ability, looks to his left, now looks to his right. Hal Mumme pointed out, he said, you get a watch on this guy and you're not that impressed. He's not that blazing fast, but he makes people miss. And he's athletic enough there to get it into the end zone. He's pretty thrilled with that. I mean, here's a guy that's thrown nearly 30 touchdown passes. You thought he'd won the Super Bowl the way he's acting. Great enthusiasm. That really bespeaks what Hal Mumme said about him. He said in front of 60,000 or with 3 guys in the neighborhood, number 2 wants to play football.
So Tim Couch. In Hyden, Kentucky, where he grew up, family still lives, become such a tourist trap, they doubled the number of red lights in the town from 1 to 2.
Wow.
And they're both on Main Street. Of course, there's only about 2 other streets beside Main.
Cherry and Walnut, probably.
That's about it. And here's going for the 2. Into the corner of the end zone. And it's caught by the tight end. It's Whalen.
It's interference against Mississippi State, but they'll let it go. The walk-on from Shasta, the 214-pound tight end, comes up with a great catch and 2 points for Kentucky.
You said they hadn't gone to a tight end? Well, they did to Whalen, the junior from Portland, Oregon.
Great move here. Cuts inside, goes to the corner. Watch the catch. Cooper holds his right arm, and he extends himself and still able to come up with the catch. Talking with Hal Mumme about him yesterday, he said, you know what? Physically, he's not all that imposing, but he makes the catches, and I like him between the hashes. He comes up with big ones, and he did there.
His 21 catches, now 22, ranks 4th in the country among all tight ends. James Whalen from Portland, Oregon. So it's 18-15 Kentucky with just 2 minutes and 5 seconds to go. So we are getting one of those SEC shootouts tonight, aren't we? Tomorrow night at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN, it's Sunday Night Football. The Tennessee Oilers face off against Trent Dilfer and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then on Monday Night Football on ABC at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, Brett Favre and the Packers take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. ESPN and ABC, your exclusive networks for primetime NFL football.
Now I was waiting for you to say the team of the 60s versus the team of the 70s.
It's hard to sell it when you're in the middle of the 90s.
I tell you what, though, that's gonna be a good game. Good game. That Pittsburgh defense against Brett Favre.
And the Packers back after that statement-making game of last week against the Niners.
See if they can derail the bus.
So it's a 3-point Kentucky lead. And the kick goes out of bounds for the second time tonight. But that's not the least bit unusual. One of the things Hal Mumme likes to have his kickers do is kick toward the corner so that there aren't a lot of returns. But it could backfire as it did for the second
Illegal
time tonight.
kick, out of bounds. The penalty puts the ball on the 35.
So Mississippi State will say, okay, we'll take it 1st and 10 at the 35.
I thought that was interesting there. You saw how Mummy with the body goes, no, just a little bit farther inside. But again, you're right. The field position is not very good, but after Prather ran that one back to the other 35, maybe he's feeling it. And the other thing, too, Charlie, a consideration with these kicks is how well the field goal kicker from Mississippi State is doing. And obviously at this point, he's struggling.
Hazelwood is struggling mightily. Total yards on the night, Kentucky 227. Mississippi State just 132. And Madkin's in trouble throwing, and it's incomplete. The intended receiver was James Johnson, but Madkin buried by a big rush by Jeff Snedeker.
Snedeker has been in the backfield. I think he's got 3 or 4 hits on the quarterback, including that one on the 2-point conversion. He has really been all over the field. Interesting comment by Hal Mummy with regards to Snedeker was the fact that he said, I said, how's he feeling? How's his shoulder? He says, well, you know what? Lee Wesley came in for him and played a really good game. Suddenly his shoulder got a lot better.
Snedeker played all of last year with a torn rotator cuff and was still the leading tackler for Kentucky. 2nd and 10 at the 35. Now here's, haven't called his name in a while. He is quickly rustled down by Jeff Snedeker and McCree. Marlon McCree and Jeff Snedeker combined to team up on the tackle.
Well, McCree is their big play guy, their leader in sacks and tackles for loss, because people have to be cognizant of Snedeker and block him. And so they've had outstanding outside backer play from both McCree and Snedeker this season.
McCree is not very big. As you look at Jeff Snedeker at 6'2", 240. McCree, on the other hand, just 6'1", 205. On 3rd and 10, Madkin is just 1 of 6 for 5 yards. Throwing for the sideline, and it's caught by Prentiss at the 36-yard line of Kentucky, and a big first down.
And what a great
29.
Charlie, what a great come out, do something here, because Mississippi State has been able to operate with the status quo.
Which begs the question, how seriously is Couch's thumb injured?
Good point.
Yeah, he's been flexing that thumb every spare moment that he had. And here he is looking over the middle, and this time he dumps it off to Derek Homer, and Homer dives ahead to the 45-yard line. That should be enough for another first down.
Well, Tim Couch spreading the ball around as he usually does, but as we pointed out, not that far downfield. You see the ones over 15 yards. He's only thrown 5 times. He's thrown an awful lot underneath, and even behind the line of scrimmage, you see to his backs.
So on the first down at the 45-yard line of Kentucky, here's Couch from the shotgun. And the Wildcats have some work to do, trailing by 11 points. Here's Couch firing over the middle. That's Kevin Coleman. Coleman to the 40-yard line and down at the 39.
Well, as Chris pointed out via Hal Mummy, the middle is wide open, and that's where Coleman was able to make a couple of big catches here in the first half. The issue with throwing over the middle, though, is that's when the pass protection has to be key. Davis cuts over the middle, but it's Coleman coming from the other side of the field on the slant who's able to come up with the ball. First down for the Wildcats.
Coleman showing good hands. 1st and 10 at the 39. And trailing by 11. Couch out of the shotgun, and the pass is complete to Neil Brown.
Brown on the short crossing route, gets his feet tangled up, tackles himself essentially for about a 4-yard gain. Again, with the no huddle, Mississippi State has to go on the fly. This is an advantage for the Wildcats.
Brown's 2nd reception of the season. On 2nd and 7. Here's Yeats. Look at that cut. And finally down at the 25-yard line, and another first down. Edward Smith with the tackle.
Mississippi State very lucky that one didn't go the distance. They came up the middle with 7. They came with the blitz, and they get the screen out. And if Yeast breaks one more tackle, he's gone. Edward Smith, as you pointed out, makes the tackle, but there was nobody left in the secondary for the Bulldogs.
Now you're finally beginning to get a sense that Tim Couch and the Kentucky Wildcat offense getting a bit of rhythm, something they didn't have in the first half. Joe Lee Dunn's defensive unit of Mississippi State was driving them crazy. Now you get a sense that Couch is beginning to assert his will. 1st and 10 from the 25. Couch in trouble and down at the 35-yard line. That was Anthony Derricks with his 2nd sack of the season.
Well, not only Anthony Derricks, but the replacement for Barron Simpson, in this case, number 46, James Dinkins is in. Take a look to the right of your screen. Here they come, and they come pretty much unblocked. There's no way he can see, from the left of your screen, Dinkins and Derricks, they come unblocked. Couch can't see it, and down he goes.
A loss of 9, 2nd down and 19, back at the 34. A quick pitch. Anthony White inside the 25-yard line, so picks up a lot of the real estate that was lost on the sack. Kentucky Jones made the tackle from his free safety spot.
Here's a situation, Charlie, where Whalen or Haley would seem to excel, because they're going to go man. You know they're going to man up with the wide receivers. So the tight end has an opportunity here down inside the 30 to make a play if Couch sees it.
And Kentucky in the hurry up on 3rd down and 10 at the 25-yard line. Couch back in trouble, breaks one tackle, gets rid of the ball, and it's incomplete. The closest receiver was Anthony White coming out of the backfield, but Couch was fortunate enough just to get out of the clutches of a couple of would-be sackers.
Well, the plain truth is the Mississippi State front seven is completely outplaying the front seven of Kentucky. He's able to just get rid of it before he gets whacked. And as you pointed out, Charlie, great play just to get an incomplete pass instead of a sack, so they're still within field goal range.
42 yards away. Seth Hansen, his longest of the season, is 42.
Don't rule out a fake.
But this one's on its way. And it's hooking and does not make it. So the Wildcats are stymied again. And Hal Mummy's team is trailing by 11.
Well, Kentucky really has to step up here defensively. They cannot allow James Johnson to get off as he did in the first series. Now 169 yards. Charlie, he is now at 1,000 yards. James Johnson is now even at 1,000 yards for the season.
And so now it's Mississippi State, 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Here's James Johnson, and Johnson picks up maybe 3 on the play. James Johnson is a 4-figure man.
Johnson, the ball carrier.
Over 1,000 yards for the season tonight.
In this day and age of numbers, that seems astonishing, doesn't it? That only one back in their history has gone over 1,000 twice. Still, that's an impressive stat.
A senior who was a junior college transfer last year. He's the leading rusher in the SEC and ranks 9th nationally. And he has been showing his wares tonight. Throwing over the middle, and it's knocked away. What a fine ad-lib defensive play by Eric Kelly.
Well, they're asking a lot of Kelly. He's man for man all over the field. I mean, outside and inside. Usually you have help from someplace, but he doesn't. Kelly gets a chuck on Love at the line of scrimmage, runs with him. Love cuts across, gets up and bodies it. Look at Kelly. He gets the arm in there and is able to bat it away. He's upset with himself because he thought he had a pick. That's a nice play by 2-0.
3rd down and 7 yards to go. This is a big play for the Kentucky football team, not just the defense. Trailing by 11. Midway through the 3rd quarter. Well, let's see what, oh, that's a busted play. Kelvin Love is going to try to pass it, but there's a flag on the play at the point of the tackle of Love.
Here's something that the official doesn't understand. He's going to call intentional grounding, but what he was trying to do is throw back to the quarterback. He tries to throw back to the quarterback, but he's not able to get the ball downfield, hence the call.
On the offense, it's 5 yards from the spot of the pass and the loss of down, 4th down.
And Jackie Sherrill is upset about it because he said, now take a look. The quarterback's going to pitch, then he's going to come around here. That's who he's going to throw to. Now, as he pivots and throws, he's able to get the ball downfield. That's where he was going, but the official says no, he didn't get the ball far enough in the vicinity, hence the intentional grounding.
Here comes Mississippi State's first punt of the night. Jeff Walker to punt it away, and Craig Yeast standing back at the 50. Walker averaging 41.5 yards per punt this season. It's a low kick, bouncing, And Yeast wisely gets out of the way. It'll drop dead at about the 49-yard line of Mississippi State. And Kentucky is back in business. So now it's Kentucky's turn with 7:51 to go in the third quarter, trailing by 11. And let's see if Tim Couch can get his Wildcats back into this game. Throwing over the middle underneath, that's Kevin Coleman, and he is wrestled down at the 45-yard line, but there's a flag on the play, and I think it's against Kentucky.
One of the things that Mississippi State has been doing is they've been waiting for Couch to audibilize. It might be a hands to the face.
Personal foul on the defense.
You're right.
Illegal hands to the face. That's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
What I was going to say is that what Mississippi State is doing is they come up in kind of a spread situation, force Couch to get into an audible, and then get out of it. I think that what Kentucky has to do is they have to get the play from the sidelines or in the huddle and just decide this is what we're going to do, because Mississippi State's not stupid.
15 penalties in this game, now 16. And Mississippi State's got 9 of them and have given up 99 yards of real estate. With Homer and White joining Couch in the backfield, it is 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. And they're flags again. Now we're getting sloppy out here.
There's no snap, dead ball foul, personal foul, excuse me. Illegal movement on the offensive line, 5-yard penalty.
Well, here's Chris Marlowe now. Chris?
Charlie, earlier, number 45, Barron Simpson, went out with a right leg cramp. Interestingly, how they treated it, they used a medicine called guaifenesin, which is sometimes used as a cough syrup. This time it was used as a muscle relaxant. They rubbed it in, and voila, bye-bye cramps. He's back in.
Wow. 1st and 15 at the 35-yard line. That's Gary Davis, and he is down to about the 33-yard line. A pickup of just 2 on the play.
Question I would ask there is that on a night like this, how would you cramp up?
That's the first question.
How do you lose the fluids on a night that's in the mid-30s?
It is chilly, has been chilly ever since the sunset. Today was a beautiful late fall afternoon here in Lexington. The sun was shining, and as soon as you got into the shade, it started to cool off in a hurry, and once the sun set, it got cold. So there's going to be frost on the bluegrass before this night is done. 2nd down and 13 at the 33. Here's Couch stepping up, firing. Oh, what a catch that was by James Whalen.
Now this pass complete to Whalen.
Whalen did a full 360 to make that catch.
Well, Couch has been under duress all night long. Mississippi State has had a variety of blitzes and a variety of schemes that has confused Couch, and he has taken some shots. He's been hit at least a half dozen times and sacked a couple of more. And it's a situation where he's just not used to this. He's used to sitting back and having plenty of time.
He's also used to throwing long toward the end zone, and it's incomplete, intended once again for Gary Davis. Couch on the night now is 27 of 36 for 217 yards.
They're going to go for it here. I think this is a little bit out of Hanson's range. So now at 4th and 7, we're looking at probably around a 45, 46-yard kick. They're going to go for it.
Going for it is nothing new for Hal Mumme. He'll fake it. He'll go for it. 4th down is just another down to him. On 4th down and 7, they have to get the ball just outside the 20-yard line. Couch fires, and it's complete. That's Kevin Coleman inside the 15-yard line.
As Chris pointed out at the beginning of the half, the middle was open. This time, Mississippi State doesn't take any chances. They rush with 4 and cover with 7, a little bit of a zone. Coleman sits down in the dead spot, able to come up with a big first down.
At the 13-yard line. Plenty of time left. 4 wides, 2 to the left, 2 to the right. And that's Derek Homer in the backfield, staying home with Couch. Couch throwing over the middle of the end zone. Touchdown! Kevin Coleman, who has been Couch's favorite receiver tonight. 13 yards, and now Kentucky is back within 5.
Just as we were talking about the zone, this time they come with a blitz, and Couch is able to read it. Right to the post goes Coleman. He has what he wants, man-for-man coverage with Cooper. Couch shows the touch despite the problems with his thumb.
And now Kentucky wisely will go for 2, because if they make it, they will get back to within 3. Coleman has 9 catches tonight for 105 yards. So Kentucky goes for 2. Plenty of time left in this game. And there is a penalty.
Boy.
Somebody on Kentucky at the right end spot got off in a real hurry.
It must. The play must have been designed for him. Boy, was he excited. Take a look right here. I'm gone.
That's Whalen.
Yeah.
5-yard penalty.
There's Kevin Coleman with the touchdown. And 9 catches tonight. You know, Tim Couch has thrown to 17 different receivers this year. 17 of them. And so they're going for 2 from the 8. Couch into the end zone, and it's intercepted. And here comes Mississippi State. Flag on the play. And so the 2-point try is negated, but there is a flag, and I think the flag flew after the interception.
That looked like it could be a block in the back, but
Robert Bean officially with the pick.
The interception was by Bean, number 13.
give some credit there, too, to Mississippi State. Inevitably, when a touchdown occurs like that, you feel like you've lost some momentum, but give them credit for hanging in there and preventing the 2-pointer to not letting them get within a field goal.
Referee Bill Goss getting
After
a lot
the
of face
interception,
time.
there was an illegal block in the back on the white team. By rule, the try is over. The try is no good.
So while Kentucky falls short on the 2-point try, they come up large on the 13-yard touchdown pass from Tim Couch to Kevin Coleman. Couch's first of the night. So while Kentucky misses on their 2-point try, they move back to within 5 of Mississippi State. Kevin Prentiss and Pig Prather are standing back at the 5-yard line awaiting the kickoff from Seth Hansen. And it's booted by Prather. The ball is loose and picked up by Mississippi State. And Enzo Miller.
Reserve halfback. He's the guy that goes in when James Johnson needs a break. Good thing that he turned around and looked, because sometimes, you know, when you look back, you just get in the wedge. Fortunately for Miller, he was heads up.
Don't miss NFL Tonight, Tuesday through Friday at 7:30 Eastern Time, and Saturday nights at midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific. Mark Malone, Sean Salisbury, Mike Golick for the most comprehensive NFL news both on and off the field. NFL Tonight, right here on The Deuce. First and 10, Mississippi State at the 20-yard line, and now, for the first time in what seems like a very long time, the folks here at Commonwealth Stadium are standing and cheering and seeing if they can get their defense energized, and apparently they can. That was Gordon Crow and Marvin Major combining on the tackle. Jeff Zerker was also in the neighborhood.
Again, Charlie, one of the things that we had talked about in the first half is that the quarterback at some point has to make a play. Johnson will still get some yards, but he is going to have to make a play this drive for them to be successful. They can't put it all on number 22's shoulders.
But you know, we have not mentioned the names of their defensive front for Kentucky at all tonight until that play. Crow, Jacobs, and Major have been relatively quiet. Second down and 10. Here's Johnson again. Johnson down after a gain of maybe a couple. That's Snedeker in on the play, along with David Johnson.
Well, one of the reasons for that is Randy Thomas, their right guard, number 77 from Mississippi State. One of the 3 best guards coming out of the NFL, according to the experts. He's an all-SEC academic as well as a tremendous athlete. Really a good player. Done a great job up front creating some gaps for Johnson.
I'll tell you a story about Randy Thomas in a moment. Third down and 8 at the 22-yard line. Let's see what Madkin can do on 3rd and long. Got time, fires, incomplete. And so the Kentucky defense stiffens.
Even if Cooper makes the catch, he's going to be short of the first down. That's good coverage in the part of the secondary for Kentucky. Very good series for the Wildcats.
Eric Kelly on the play defensively, and now here's Jeff Walker to punt it away. And Craig Yeast standing back at his own 37-yard line. Mississippi State didn't punt at all in the first half. And now in their first two series in the second half, they're punting it away. Yeast be wise to get out of the way. And he does as the ball falls dead at about the 28-yard line of Kentucky with 3 minutes and 43 seconds to go here in the third quarter. So Hal Mummy's team, which hasn't been especially sharp, especially not in the first half, still very much in this game.
Interesting to note that Kentucky has 60 plays to only 42 for Mississippi State. Their time of possession, they have 6.5 minutes more, and yet they trail, which once again is a tribute to the defense of Mississippi State, who, despite the fact they've given up 24 points, I'd have to say, Charlie's been playing very well.
It's 1st and 10 for Kentucky at their own 28-yard line. Here's Couch with the pump fake one way, looking the other way. Now he's going to run it. And he's going to run it out of bounds. And he picked up a lot of yards on that play with some nifty running. He may have gotten himself a first down. Very close.
Well, he stepped out of bounds at the 35, but he wasn't sure, so he wanted to follow it out just in case. He pumps and thinks he has the long ball, but he doesn't, so he brings it back, cuts upfield. Take a look at the fake right there. He steps out right there. Good call by the official, but then he steps to left foot just to make sure in case the guy missed it.
Jackie Sherrill, in talking about Tim Couch this week, is telling us that one of the things that he's really improved his game upon has been his ability, A, to get rid of the ball when in duress, and B, to run out of the pocket when he has to. And now he throws the ball, and it's complete to Derek Homer, and that's more than enough for a first down to the 41-yard line.
Just as we talked about the pass protection not being so good, suddenly it's almost too good. Couch has plenty of time to look downfield, but that's what Joe Lee wants to do. Joe Lee Dunn wants to shake some things up. At that much time, he can get like his 4th or 5th read and complete it.
You can't give a quarterback like Couch that much time. 1st and 10 at the 43, and Couch calling plays on the fly. 4 wides, 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Little pitch out this time to Anthony White. Anthony White to the 40-yard line of Mississippi State, and another first down. A pickup of 17 yards on the play.
Too many people in the box in that case. And when I say the box, I'm talking about between the hashes. Anthony White should not have been able to get outside, but good blocks at the point of attack, particularly by Comstock, which frees White, breaks a couple of tackles before he's dragged down for a big game.
1st and 10 at the 39 of Mississippi State. And here is Couch once again with the 4 wides. And Homer the back now, and this is Homer. Look at Homer go! Homer to the house! Touchdown! And now with Kentucky leading by 1, the likelihood is they will go for 2 to try and grab a lead of 3.
Great blocks downfield for the wideouts for Kentucky. Hal Mummey screaming at his Chargers to stay on the field because they have to go for 2. Well, they don't have to go for 2, but obviously it makes no sense to go for 1 and go up by 2.
The Iliad and the Oddity. Derek Homer, 6 carries, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And here is Couch for Yeast. No, sir. So Kentucky has grabbed the lead. After trailing by 11, they now lead by 1.
The offensive line for Kentucky is more noted for their pass protection, particularly in this series. But both Webster and Comstock get great blocks at the point of attack. Now watch Craig Yeast downfield. There he breaks. He's able to break loose. Take a look in the secondary. There's the blocks downfield by Coleman, enabling White to go to go the distance. Look at the blocks at the point of attack. Great job by Yeast getting in the way of his man, and here it is again. He breaks the tackle. And Homer, as we pointed out earlier, was somebody who had been in the doghouse of Hal Mummey, but certainly tonight the way he has been running.
Derek Homer is the fastest player on this Kentucky team. Runs a 4.3740. And Derek Homer has more yards and more touchdowns than any other running back in Kentucky high school history. Ran for 8,224 yards and 112 touchdowns. Derek Homer from Fort Knox, Kentucky has come up golden tonight. Somebody actually lives in Fort Knox. Well, working in the gold mine, I suppose better than the coal mine.
Oh, they actually kicked one.
How about that? Now here's Pick Prather. And Prather is down at the 17-yard line. And Kentucky had wrested the momentum away from Mississippi State. And now the BMW storyline, brought to you by BMW, the stars of this ball game. James Johnson from Mississippi State, 23 carries, 174 yards, a couple of touchdowns. And Tim Couch, after the slow start in the first half, has been flexing his muscles here in the second half. Kentucky, more than 100 yards more than Mississippi State in total yards, and when all is said and done, the Wildcats lead by 1 point. Hiding Kentucky's pride and joy, Tim Couch. Miller and Williamson now in the backfield. And this is DeCenzo Miller. And Miller is shy of the 30 across the 25 to about the 27. Pick up a 7 on the play.
We had a chance to see Miller last 2 weeks ago against LSU. Came in and did a nice job. 31 carries for 196 yards. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. He's the man that is going to take the place of Johnson when he graduates. And Lynn Amity was saying that he thinks he's something special. He thinks he's going to be a good one.
5'10", 193-pound freshman. James Johnson, on the other hand, 6'2" and 2 1/4. And here is Miller again. Look at DeCenzo Miller to the 39-yard line, and another first down, a pickup of a dozen yards on the play. Marlon McCree made the tackle, so Miller not only has speed, but deceptive moves.
Once again at the point of attack, the right side of the line, Randy Thomas and Anthony Kapp push people off. You can see Snedeker here. He's going to get pushed out by the fullback. Ooh, man, that's a great block there. Nailing Snedeker as Miller heads upfield and makes some plays.
First and 10 at the 39-yard line. That's Prentiss in motion. And here is Miller again. And Miller is brought down this time after a gain of only about a yard on the play.
Kenny Williamson, the fullback from Mississippi State, doing a great job on that last play, and Snedeker in this play too, creating a gap for Miller. Johnson, as you pointed out, must be getting a breather here for the fourth quarter, because maybe there is something to be said for the fact that maybe he's fading a little bit, Charlie, but I'm guessing on a night like this one it's so cool, I don't know why.
Well, when you got somebody like Miller coming off the bench, and there you take a look at Johnson, and he's stretching out the hamstring. Second down and 8. Miller again. And Miller, had he not stumbled, he had some room down the sideline, short of the first down by about a yard. He's at the 48 and needs to get to the 49.
Once again, Williamson with a big block. Williamson comes up, Zerker on the blitz, and he nails him in the backfield. Otherwise, that would have been a loss. The fullback's play here is crucial. Take a look at the fullback. You're going to see from the left of your screen, Zerker comes into the blitz. There's the block. Williamson nails him and nailing Miller to get to the outside. That fullback, number 32, is making some plays.
Miller 4 carries and 29 yards. As we have come to the end of the third quarter. And we have 15 minutes left in the ball game, and only 1 point separates the Cats and the Dogs. Four of Kentucky's 8 games this season have been settled on the final play of the game. As we enter the fourth period, Kentucky leads Mississippi State 30-29. Defensive coordinator Mike Major, as his team has a major play to begin this fourth quarter. Mississippi State 3rd and 1. James Johnson is back in the lineup. The line of scrimmage is Mississippi State's 48. They have to get to the 49, and everybody is bunched up tight. Johnson, first down. He took off like a missile.
And I was going to say, I'm really thinking there, Charlie, that if he keeps his feet, he might have a lot more yardage. He had it was a predetermined situation. He saw things were jammed up, decided that he wanted to go for the 1 yard. You can see the look on his face. He goes, oh man, maybe I should have kept my feet. He doesn't really jump. Look right there. He's not jumping over anybody, really. There's a hole there if he keeps his feet.
Well, he got himself a first down into Kentucky territory. 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. James Johnson, who came into the game averaging 119 yards per game. He's got 177 tonight. Long down the sideline, incomplete. Madkin way overthrows his intended receiver. Marvin Love was actually the closest man to the ball.
Love on Love. Kelvin Love is the man who is on the route. They've been making a concerted effort to try and get him the ball. As you take a look at the statistics, the pass yards, of course, for Kentucky. The rushing yards in this case, Mississippi State has 234 in this game, and usually when a team runs that effectively, you'd think they'd be ahead, but not so.
In fact, Kentucky has held the ball almost 5 minutes longer in this game than Mississippi State has. On 2nd and 10, here's Johnson again. And Johnson will pick up about 5 yards on the play. Jeff Snedeker, he has been all over the field tonight. He was in on the tackle.
One of the things that happens, though, with the fake and the long ball on first down is you put yourself now. I'm thinking that even though it's predictable, Charlie, I'm thinking you got to give Johnson the ball the first 2 times of each series. Make the kid see if he can make a play on 3rd down.
And now the wind is beginning to wrestle up a little bit, and the wind is blowing from right to left. So the wind is at the back of Mississippi State here in the fourth quarter. On 3rd and 6. Madkin, the freshman, is sacked back at the 40-yard line. Matt Leo and Jeff Snedeker.
And maybe not so subtle difference between the 2 quarterbacks, Charlie. You notice when Couch feels the pressure, there's a little clock in his head that tells him he needs to get rid of the ball. Not so in Madkin's case. There's a point right about now where he's got to say to himself, I got to get rid of it. I got to get rid of it. Instead, he holds the ball and takes the sack.
Leo, Snedeker, and Johnson all get a piece of Madkin, and it is 4th and a long way. Jeff Walker's punt. Fair catch for Craig Yeast at the 13-yard line. Kentucky trailed by 11 at the half, and now they lead by 1. If the temperature drops anymore, that water's going to turn to ice. 1st and 10 for Kentucky at their own 13-yard line. And here is Couch. A lot of time now, lot of time. Unloads it to Derek Homer, and Homer has made life miserable for Mississippi State. Adesola Badon makes the tackle.
And unlike the first quarter, where they're making the tackles for the 2- and 3-yard gains, suddenly the backs are beginning to break the tackles.
The wind is now blowing in the face of Kentucky here in the fourth quarter. Second down and 6 for the Wildcats at their own 17-yard line. Homer now 6 carries, 109 yards, 6 catches, and 34 more yards. And here is the pass completed to Jimmy Robinson, very close to the first down. Robinson, one of 17 different receivers that Tim Couch has thrown to this season alone.
For whatever reason, and I can't second guess, he obviously knows what he's doing. Joe Lee Dunn here in the second half has opted, Charlie, more for the rush 3 cover with 8, rush 4 cover with 7. And as a result, Couch has had a lot more time to throw. I'm thinking he's got to break this up a little bit, start coming with some extra people.
Well, here's Couch up over center for the first time in what seems like a good long time. And now Couch, looking at the defense employed by Joe Lee Dunn, calls an automatic and gives it to the running back, Anthony White. And And White picks up about 7 yards. You know, it occurs to me last year when Kentucky had the lead at the half, 21-3 at Starkville. It was Joe Lee Dunn who made all the adjustments, and Mississippi State came from behind, outscoring Kentucky 25-6 in the second half to win it 35-27. This year, it seems that Hal Mumme has made the adjustments on Joe Lee Dunn. And here's Kentucky that was trailing by 11 at the half, now leading by 1 here in the third quarter. A flag flies, and so does a pass down the sideline. And is it caught? Oh, it is caught by Gary Davis, who just took it out of the hands of the defender, Kendall Roberson, but there's a flag on the play down there.
I think there's a face mask at the end of the play. Couch very smart, knows he's got a free play, so he just throws the ball up. But let me tell you something, that was an absolute quail of a throw. End over end. Give Davis credit for getting up there and taking it away.
A pickup of 35 if the play stands. And it will.
There are 2 fouls on the defense. Offsides is declined. After the catch, there's a 5-yard face mask on the defense. That'll be 5 yards from the end of the run, first down.
Not a particularly good route on the part of Davis. He cuts upfield, and as I say, this is a jump ball. Great effort on the part of Davis to jump over the top of Roberson and make the catch. Now at the end there, Roberson gets him by the face mask, but the free play turns out to be more than just largesse for Kentucky.
Gary Davis stands 6'2". Kendall Roberson is 6 feet, and those 2 inches made all the difference in the world. 1st and 10. Now at the 27-yard line. And here is Couch calling the automatic again. This time he's going to pitch it. Derek Homer cuts back. What did Homer go? To the 15-yard line, and another first down, and here's Mike Adamle. Well, the BCS being shaken up like a little bit of nitro and glycerin inside a beaker.
Okay, I was waiting for the end of that.
I forgot my chemistry classes. For good reason. 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. Here's Couch. Little timing pattern for Houston. The end zone. Just couldn't get it. But there's a flag on the play.
Once again, getting the offside. Touch just a little bit long. Yeast couldn't quite lay out and get that one, although it appeared from this vantage point it was catchable. That's about the 5th offside, I believe, against Mississippi State.
Defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
The 11th penalty of the night against Mississippi State. It's cost them 109 yards.
Here's the touch. Has the fade. Just a little bit long for Yeast, although that appears that could have been catchable.
That sure was a catchable ball. 1st and 5 at the 10-yard line. And here's Couch calling the automatic again. Showing remarkable poise. Little pitch out. Anthony White looking to turn the corner. And down he goes. A loss of about 2 or 3 on the play.
Good pursuit on the part of Mississippi State defense. This is where, needless to say, Kentucky wants to punch this in, and for Mississippi State, it's big to force Kentucky to a field goal and get their offense back on the field.
Joe Lee Dunn exhorting his troops on. Hal Mumme watching his protege, Tim Couch. 2nd down and 8 at the 13-yard line. Couch now from the shotgun, with White and Homer joining him in the backfield. Coleman and Yeast flanked to the right side. Looking like hit as he got rid of the ball, and oh, what a catch it was by Yeast at the 10-yard line. But there's a flag on the play back in the end zone where Kevin Coleman was looking for a pass.
Well, anybody that questions Couch's toughness coming into this game can't question it anymore. He has been taking some shots, this time from the blind side.
What a catch that was by little Craig Yeast. Caught that like Willie Mays in the '54 World Series over the shoulder.
Holding on the defense. Penalty on the forward pass is 10 yards. In this case, it's half the distance and an automatic first down.
Joe Lee Dunn's team is just killing itself.
Yeah, but Joe Lee Dunn's team is almost killing Couch, too. They're from the backside. Took it. Oh, man. And really lucky to get that one back. As you pointed out, making the analogy, I'm not sure that Tim Couch even knows who Vic Wirtz is. But nonetheless, nice catch.
1st and goal for Kentucky at the 6. Coleman and Yeast flank to the right side. Little handoff to Homer. Homer slashes his way to about the 3-yard line, where Barron Simpson and Eric Daniel are there to team up on the tackle.
One of the other reasons, Charlie, that I mentioned how important it would be for Mississippi State to stop them here with a field goal is that Kentucky gets in the end zone, kick the extra point, they're up by 8. That just might take Johnson out of the game, as opposed to if, they could go downfield and only be down by 4.
Last year, Kentucky couldn't run the ball at all. Now, look at tonight. And, in general, Kentucky has been running the ball much better in the last 3 games. Now 4 games. And here's Anthony White tackle behind the line of scrimmage, a loss of about 3 on the play. In the last 3 games, Kentucky has run for 211, 182, and 204 yards against South Carolina, LSU, and Georgia. And tonight they have rushed for 173 against Mississippi State. So it's not just Tim Couch anymore. 3rd and goal from the 7. This is a big play for both clubs. Couch. Rolling, throwing toward the end zone. There's Yeast. Craig Yeast said to us the other day, catching a Tim Couch pass is like catching a feather. And that feather came out of the sky, and it took forever to come down, but Yeast was there for his 14th touchdown reception of the season.
And the reason why Joe Lee Dunn had the expression that he did is that they did everything right. They put the pressure on. They did what they had to do. They had 3 Mississippi State defenders in the area, and none of them could make the play.
And now the extra point has given Kentucky an 8-point lead with 8:21 left in the game, and now you're seeing the real Tim Couch. Well, it's not snowing here, but it's plenty chilly. And Kentucky 37-29. Prather and Prentiss are standing deep, and not quite a time of urgency from Mississippi State, but it's drawn close. Again, another one of those little squibbers. Fielded by Prather at the 20 and brought down at the 34-yard line.
Prentiss sets him up in good field position at the 34.
Craig Yeast with the touchdown catch.
Couch really is just trying to get rid of this. Now he's backing up. He just gets rid of it. He throws in the vicinity. Look at that. He's almost on his backside. And Yeast bails him out. Daniel could have made a better play than that. Yeast at 5'9", 166 shouldn't have been able to bail him out with his body, but needless to say, number 2 is very happy about it. He points in the right direction to Craig Yeast, saying, hey, man, thanks for bailing me out.
1st and 10, Mississippi State at the 34. If you're keeping tabs, both teams have all 3 timeouts left. Atkins throwing down the sideline, and it is complete to the tight end, Reginald Kelly.
Reggie Kelly is going to the Senior Bowl. He's been invited to the Senior Bowl. Lynn Amity, the offensive coordinator, was saying he thinks he's terrific, but in this particular system, because James Johnson gets the number of carries that he doesn't catch as many balls as he would like. That's his first one tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed it is. And the other thing they were doing, we trying to get a couple of tight ends in there to negate Marlon McCree, the outside linebacker, who has been generally quiet tonight. 1st and 10, here's Johnson. And Johnson's got some room down the sideline. Look at him cut, and he falls down at the 30-yard line.
Here's what he saw. He saw the middle of the field. And, Charlie, you're going to see inevitably when somebody slips, they're cutting off the inside foot. Watch him cut off his left foot to cut back to the middle of the field. Great blocking at the point of attack. And take a look at Thomas once again leading out front, getting his guy. Now watch him cut off his left foot right at the end. There's the left foot. Yep. Slips and falls.
At the 31, a pickup of 25 for James Johnson. 26 carries and 206 yards tonight. 1st and 10, Mississippi State. And here's Johnson again. And on second effort, he's able to gain a couple of yards on the play.
Well, the whole idea was that Johnson was going to fade in the 4th quarter. And don't forget, DeCenzo Miller came in the 3rd and gave him a bit of a blow. Here in the 4th quarter, 34 yards, well over 200 for the game. having the game of his life here against a very competent opponent in Kentucky. They've needed all of those yards tonight, Charlie.
Jackie Sherrill said he wanted to have James Johnson carry the ball 25 to 30 times tonight. Said if we had a chance to win, that's what was going to have to happen. And they've got a chance to win, and that is what has happened. 26 carries, 206 yards. And here's Johnson again. Johnson inside the 30 down to about the 27. It'll be 3rd down and 5 yards to go.
Mike Major, defensive coordinator for Kentucky, was somebody that when we were talking with him wasn't overly impressed with Johnson. Said he's a good north and south guy, but they were certainly more afraid of Kevin Falk. I'm thinking that after this game, Charlie, he's going to have to reassess that. Now, something to think about here, 3rd down and 6, is that I'm thinking that with 6:30 and counting, they could be in 4-down territory, and I think that's one of the reasons why Madkin called a timeout. They can still give Johnson the ball and come up 4th down, because I think this is a situation you're not going to want to punt down here, and a field goal is not going to help you.
6:36 left in the game. Mississippi State coming at Kentucky, trailing by 8. So what happened to Ohio State UCLA at the Fiesta Bowl?
Hey, I got to tell you something. Mike Riley has done an outstanding job up at Oregon State. You talk about a tough place to recruit. They've got a shot, Charlie, at their first winning season in 27 years. That would be amazing.
37-29 here with 6:36 to go, and it's 3rd down and 6. Johnson, the deep back in the eye, and this time Madkin's going to roll. He's going to take it himself, and he gets crushed at the 25-yard line, well short of the 1st down. The 18-year-old freshman quarterback. Again, it's by a whole lot of love.
Again, Charlie, it's still the situation where they have to go for it. They can't kick a field goal, get it back, and kick another one, because that's only going to give them 35 points. Frankly, I was surprised that they didn't give it to Johnson, because I think if they'd have just gone off tackle, they probably would have got it, because Kentucky was in a defensive pass mode. Now I'm thinking here, they got to throw.
4th down and 4. You see Mississippi State on 4th downs this year. Madkin rolling. He's in trouble. And down he goes at the 30-yard line. And Jackie Sherrill can only raise his hands and wonder what might have been.
Give Kentucky credit that we've been talking about how the right side of the offensive line from Mississippi State had been dominant. This time Kentucky was able to come through. The lead blocks by both the fullback and the tailback were very poor, and they got right in the face of Madkin. Rolls to his right, feels like he has some confidence, but look at the lead blocks. David Johnson able to come off of it, as well as Layout and Jacobs, and they drop Madkin for a loss and turn the ball over.
And Kentucky looking to expand their 8-point lead. They trailed by 11 at the half. Here's Couch again with the audible. Haley in motion. And that is Anthony White, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage and maybe lost a yard on the play.
This will be interesting for Hal Mumme, this particular series. You get the big emotion, you go, wow, wow, we stopped him. And what inevitably happens is you start playing not to lose. That's not what Kentucky does well. They still have to attack. I think Hal Mumme's cognizant of that, but it's just human nature sometimes when a big play like that happens on defense to let down a little on offense.
On 2nd down and 10 from the 30. Here's Couch, little end around. Back to Couch, throwing down the sideline, incomplete, intended for Gary Davis.
And Badon does a great job of not looking too far into the backfield. Great fake here on the reverse. Everybody's thinking this is what's coming. Couch is able to buy some time. He airs it out, but the ball is a little bit short. And look at Badon as he goes up, almost has the pick. Keeps the ball away from Davis. Davis actually does a good job of stripping the ball from Badon, preventing the interception.
Adesola Badon with the play defensively on 3rd down and 11. Here's Couch. Out of the pocket. He's going to run it, and he's brought down at the 33-yard line. And so Kentucky is unable to do anything after that 4th down hold.
Give Jolie Dunn and his crew credit there. They could have easily folded their tent and say, oh, nuts, we're down 8. We just didn't get the 1st down. Instead, they came out, forced 3 and out from a very hot Kentucky offense.
So meanwhile, as you see the clock running, Mississippi State has 2 timeouts left. And Jimmy Carter on to punt just for the 2nd time tonight for Kentucky. Here comes a left-footed punt. It's high and short. It bounces at the 32-yard line, and it will be dropped dead at about the 34. 4 minutes, 2 seconds left. Mississippi State trails by 8, and they've got 2 timeouts left. Okay, Mike, 4:02 left in the game. 37-29 is your score. And Wayne Madkin, the 18-year-old freshman quarterback, 6 of 14 for 97 yards tonight. James Johnson has been the story offensively for Mississippi State, but here's Madkin throwing long over the middle, and it's complete to Kevin Love. And Love at the 45-yard line, a pickup of 22, and that's a first down.
And how different could this be, Charlie, if the special teams had been a little bit more effective? Here's the extra point that ricochets off the upright. Here's the field goal that is hooked left. And finally, the field goal that's a little bit short. It's not just a matter of just adding up the 7 points that you miss, but how it changes everything in terms of the symmetry of the game.
Absolutely. And so 7 points that might have been, strategy that might have changed. And now on first down, here's Madkin throwing long over the middle. He's got somebody open. Touchdown, Mississippi State. That is Kevin Prentiss.
What a catch. Wow. You had just said that. You were talking, earlier when you were talking about Prentiss and Yeast and comparing them, I'm thinking to myself, come on, Yeast, man, he's got all these numbers. Kevin Prentiss, or KP as they call him, how clever, lays out and makes a terrific catch. Wow.
And now Mississippi State will have to go for 2. Prentiss, the leading receiver for Mississippi State, 4 catches, 88 yards tonight.
But he's going out, Charlie. You just saw him right there. He nodded to the coach, I'm going out of the game. That's nuts. They got to have him in for this 2-point conversion. This is the biggest play of the game for them.
And so Prentiss comes off the field. They're going for 2. Madkin's going to try to run it in, and he's not going to get it.
Charlie, that was worth a timeout. You've got arguably your second best player on the field in Prentiss. You've got to have him on the field for that 2-point conversion. No way can you have him come off the field. Waste the timeout, use it. You got to have number 12 on the field.
And so Mike Major, the defensive coordinator for Kentucky, his unit comes up large.
I don't know if he was hurt or if he was too tired, but if he's a little bit gassed, you got to call timeout, because certainly Lynn Amedee's got to be thinking, I want number 12 on the field.
I wonder if he may have gotten the wind knocked out of him as he landed on the football after making the catch. Let's see. Well,
regardless, as you see Madkin get stuffed and they don't get the 2-point conversion, he's got to be on the field. So you take timeout and you come over and you go, you okay? You okay? You going to be all right? You broke a rib? That's too bad. Go in. Here's what we got. I mean, he's got to play.
You broke a rib, you got dozens of others.
Yeah, that's right. What a catch. Sensational.
Well, he's okay now, but his team trails by 2. And him coming off the field for the 2-point conversion may loom very large in the outcome of this game.
Now it's going to be interesting. Kentucky is up anticipating an onside kick, but I'm telling you right now, Walker isn't. He's going to kick it deep. There's 3:31 remaining, plenty of time.
10 are up within the 45-yard line, but they're kicking it off. High and deep over the head of Yeast into the end zone for the touchback. There's more action coming up Thursday night, and it begins with college football game night presented by Coors Light. Number 24, Georgia Tech battling Clemson. The Yellow Jackets led by Joe Hamilton and one of his favorite targets, Des White. Meanwhile, Clemson and quarterback Brandon Streeter look to turn their season around. It begins 7:30 Eastern time with game night on ESPN right after SportsCenter.
The last series for Kentucky, Charlie, that 3-and-out was really costly. They need to regain their aggressiveness, or they're going to give Mississippi State the ball right back.
Couch, quick toss to Craig Yeast. Yeast moving toward the middle, has some room down the sideline. Yeast down the sideline is finally run out of bounds in Mississippi State territory. Huge play, a pickup of 40.
Well, Charlie, I don't know if you were prescient when you made the point about coupling the two of them together. Prentiss has a big play. Yeast comes back with a big play. He cuts against the grain, does an awful lot of this on his own, shows the great speed, gets to the outside, breaks the tackle. That's exactly what the doctor ordered for Kentucky because they've been a little bit anemic the last couple of series on offense.
Well, both Yeast and Prentiss are about the same size. They have about the same speed, and they happen to be the favorite big play receivers of their respective offensive units. Yeast 6 carries, 87 yards tonight. 1st and 10 at the 46. Here's Homer. And Homer gets, maybe a couple of yards, but the clock continues to run, and the clock at the moment is the best friend of Kentucky and the mortal enemy of Mississippi State.
Interesting point here, too, with regards to Kentucky's receivers, Charlie. We look and we see that Couch has thrown for 338 yards. How many of those 338 yards have been after the catch? The people make plays for him. They make the catches and get downfield, break tackles, do some things for him, help him statistically.
Tim Couch getting some quick instructions from his head coach, Hal Mumme.
He might be waiting here. He's going to wait till it gets down to 1 second and call time is my guess.
And the clock continues to run with 1 second left on the play clock. That's exactly what Kentucky does. 2 minutes and 23 seconds left in the game. And Kentucky leads by a deuce. The mind games between the offensive guru of Kentucky and the head coach Hal Mumme and the defensive coordinator Joe Lee Dunn of Mississippi State. Here's Derek Homer to the 40-yard line. He picks up about 3 more on the play. It'll be 3rd down and about 4 yards to go.
Without redundant to say this is a big play, I'm interested here, though, if Mississippi State isn't going to use a timeout.
And that's exactly what they're going to do.
Now they have 1 remaining. Now the big debate for Hal Mumme, of course, here, Charlie, is that if you go for a pass and for whatever reason it's not completed, that stops the clock. I'm thinking here that maybe you want to pitch to Homer, and hey, if you don't get it, you don't get it, but the clock keeps running. And if they use it last time out, then so be it.
And Homer has been most impressive tonight. The 5'11" sophomore. 10 carries and 130 yards for the sophomore from Fort Knox. Now, Wyoming and Colorado State immediately following our game. And we are still 2 minutes and 2 seconds away. The game is still scoreless in the first quarter.
Dana DeMille, the head coach at Wyoming, 34 years of age. I think he's the youngest in Division I. Done a nice job out there.
So it's 3rd and 4. Kentucky has 2 timeouts left. Mississippi State has 1. Now let's see how they use this 3rd down. Well, they've got Couch in the shotgun. With Homer and White in the backfield. And there's a 1st down for Anthony White. Huge play. Out of the shotgun, they give it to White.
Comstock and Webster do the job. Right side of the offensive line. Just push the white shirts back just when they needed to. As you pointed out, Charlie, big play when they needed it. Interestingly enough, they go to the running game. I think it's very worthwhile what you pointed out earlier, the fact that Kentucky is hardly one-dimensional. The last 3 games, they've been averaging nearly 200 yards a game rushing the ball. Tonight, they have 189 yards rushing.
And that has made it so much easier for Tim Couch to go about doing his business. And he is sitting pretty, and so are the Wildcats. 1st down and 10. And here's Couch. He's in trouble, and he gets out of trouble and does a fine job to stay in bounds and let the clock continue to run. Now Mississippi State has but 1 timeout left.
They just used it.
And there it is. Now let's go back to the studio. Here's Mike Adams. Michael?
All right, Charlie and Todd, Oregon State can't count that upset just quite yet. UCLA driving here on their own 7-yard line, or Oregon State 7-yard line. Cade McNown to his favorite receiver, Danny Farmer, and now they're tied at 24 apiece. And a reminder, coming up next, Wyoming and Colorado State, they're just underway in Fort Collins. Guys?
All right, Mike, again, I'm reminded about the game that Kentucky and Mississippi State played last year in Starkville. Kentucky was up 21-3 at the half against Jackie Sherrill's team. And then outscored, Mississippi State did, outscored Kentucky 25-6 in the second half and came back to win it 35-27. It was 29-18. Mississippi State leading Kentucky at the half here tonight. And this man, Hal Mumme, he reorchestrated his offense. And Kentucky came back and took the lead. Kentucky with 32 first downs tonight, 529 yards of offense against Joe Lee Dunn's defense of Mississippi State. Mississippi State came into the game having surrendered an average of 17 points per game. And Tim Couch puts his knee to the ground, and that's going to do it for this ball game as Mississippi State has run out of timeouts. National Car Rental players of the game from Mississippi State, James Johnson, who rushed for 209 yards. And how about Derek Homer, the sophomore from Fort Knox, Kentucky, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, 34 yards of catching the football. And Tim Couch finished the night 35 out of 45. There's James Johnson. Look at him. And now Kentucky is calling a timeout. So Couch finished 35 of 45, 338 yards and 2 touchdowns. And in talking to Tim Couch the other day, and we spent a good deal of time with him, you and I talked, there is an overwhelming impression from what he was saying to us that if, as we all know, Cleveland has got the #1 pick, and Cleveland is so inclined to take Tim Couch, he would be more than happy to go along to Cleveland for several reasons. Number one, Cleveland, of course, is a great football town with a new football team coming in and a new ballpark, and he would be the #1 pick for this new franchise in this old line city. And the other thing, of course, you're building a franchise around this first player ever taken for the franchise. The other thing, of course, is it's just a 4-hour drive from Hayden, Kentucky. So he'd be in the neighborhood, and the folks could come and see him. And now, look at this. They're just going to kill a lot of time, and going to one knee is Anthony White, and the clock continues to run, as you see, with a half a minute to go. And when I asked Couch, I thought the most interesting answer I got from him, do you have anything left to prove at Kentucky? And he said, not really. Maybe a bowl win, but after that, no.
This is a good example, and you'd appreciate this because you're a baseball guy, Charlie. This is an example of when the starting pitcher wins without his best stuff. Couch was off, his thumb was hurting him a little bit, made some interceptions, but he bounced back and shows what the competitor he is.
And so Kentucky wins it by a score of 37-35. For Todd Christensen and Chris Barlow, Charlie Steiner saying goodbye from Commonwealth Stadium in Lexington, Kentucky. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now here's Darren Horton and Nick Lowry in Game 2 of our doubleheader.